Hello, folks. It's Steve Garai, real estate broker for Remax Action. I am often asked when it comes to buying a condominium, how can they be sure that they're buying the right condominium? Well, this is a question that has to be answered very carefully because, of course, it all depends on the circumstances. However, in general, a condominium transaction will be more complex than that of a single family dwelling. And why is that particularly? Well, because as you may or may not know, when you're buying a condominium, you're actually buying a fraction inside a larger construction. So you share the entire construction with many other cohabitors. So when you negotiate an agreement to purchase a property, you will get a set number of days within which to examine the property. That is, ensure that it is properly inspected, and it has to be to your entire satisfaction, of course. So the promise to purchase will have a whole series of different conditions which must be fulfilled in order for the transaction to go forward, and it will have to be at the entire satisfaction of the buyer. So we've negotiated the agreement which states that it is conditional upon a satisfactory inspection and, of course, a satisfactory examination of all the legal documentation that goes with that condominium, and there are several elements to that. Chief among them is the examination of the declaration of co-proprietorship. So a good broker will go through each and every clause of that declaration and will summarize it for their clients, because his or her clients must know what it is that they're buying into. And of course, then comes the financial statements, because every syndicate will have their own set of financial documentation, and it has to be examined carefully to ensure that the funds set aside for such things as the maintenance of the building are appropriate. And then, of course, one must examine the minutes of all the meetings that have transpired, all the annual general meetings that have gone on, the quarterly meetings, the special meetings, and a detailed reading of the last, say, 3 years will give the broker and the buyer a good sense of how well that syndicate is run. And speaking about syndicates, especially the tinier condo constructions, one becomes pretty aware that there are a good number of syndicates that are not as well organized as they should be. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad at what they do, but one must proceed with caution in order to make sure that what you're buying is a well-run establishment. And that, once again, is where a good broker will be absolutely invaluable, because the actual vetting process will require a huge number of documentation, a lot of back and forths, questions that are asked. The broker should be asking very pointed questions from the syndicate to ensure that the answers they provide clarify the aforementioned elements. That is, in terms of the challenges and problems that have been raised in past meetings, in annual general meetings, questions relative to the declaration of co-proprietorship. For example, the insurance element is a very important. The declaration of co-proprietorship will very frequently pronounce itself on how the building should be insured. So a good broker will, of course, then verify those elements, will request a copy of the insurance policy, and will cross-reference it to the declaration of co-proprietorship to ensure that there is a good high degree of compliance with the aforementioned documents. So these are just some of the elements that are to be considered, and based on what is found out throughout this entire process, you may have a chance to renegotiate the original price upon which the original promise to purchase was based. So this is not a transaction that is recommended to be made without the assistance of a well-educated broker in this field. If I may be of any assistance to you, do not hesitate. Give me a call. My number is behind me. And with that, I shall sign off. I'm Steve Garai for RE/MAX Action. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.